Feel like update. It's Johnny McLeod here with a voiceover. We are filming an upper body session. This was filmed last week. I apologise. This was when I was with a coach. I'm no longer with that coach anymore. I'm doing things on my own. However, we're still going to do a voiceover for the session, and then we'll, get more training footage filmed and voiceovered and what have you as we go along and mic'd up in the sessions. But basically, here we are. Single and lateral raise to start off with. Basically, I like to kind of set this up at the beginning of the session because one, it feels like it has no impact whatsoever on my output with my push movements and pull movements. Like what we do, like you'll see after this, I follow on with a chest press, for example, but I feel like this takes nothing away from that chest press, and it's a great way to just lubricate the joint, get the GH joint warmed up and primed. Allows my scap to kind of move in the scapulohumeral rhythm, and overall just gives a really good pump in the delt, which makes me feel safer when I go into my press work as well. So a few reasons why, but basically we're working off here. We do 3 total sets, and we'll do 3 total working sets, including like 2 to 3 warm-ups, feeders. Like I say, I've got the cable set up here kind of just at below wrist height, and what you'll see is that wrist, that if you draw a line from the cable and attach to the wrist up to my shoulder joint, it's almost like a 90-degree angle. Almost slightly off, but basically what that means is the load is actually heaviest when I'm at the bottom. So when I'm at the bottom, right, when my delt is lengthened or in a longer position, the cable, the resistance is actually heavier. And to be fair, if you think and you look into muscles and the resistance profiles, that is actually what we want. We want to be kind of challenging the muscle in the lengthened range, and then we want things to drop off in the shortened range. Well, if you carry on looking, see that cable, how it gets closer to my shoulder joint. The gap between the cable and my wrist and shoulder gets smaller, more acute as we get closer to the shoulder joint. That means the resistance is actually dropping off as we get further away and we get closer to that shortened range. Well, guess what? The muscle's actually weaker in that shortened range. So it works just magically well with the resistance profile. So the magnitude profile of the machine versus the strength profile of how the muscle works, combine that together, put them together, that's what we call resistance profile, and that's basically what we're working with here. So the reason why I've set it up in such a way is because it's my only lateral delt movement in the session, and I wanted to kind of make sense and challenge the delt to its kind of entire range. Now it's not the most optimal and stuff. I can adjust the cuff position as well. Like I've got a cuff on here. If I slide the cuff slightly further up my arm, that will reduce the lever length from my shoulder to the cuff. And if I reduce that lever length, it reduces the torque on the shoulder. So you can adjust it as well depending on where you want to place that cuff. But for me, I just place it on the wrist, same place every time, standardization. And then we move on to the chest press. So it's my big bread and butter movement here. So I will have one chest movement in this upper session, and it is purely the flat chest press. Now I have a dodgy right shoulder. It is not the most comfortable. You see me wiggling about here. It gets nippy from time to time. But for me, this movement is been feeling a lot better over the last 12 weeks of running it, and we've progressed it very nice as we've been going through this dieting phase, and the weight's been coming down. The strength in the machine has been going up and up and up and up to the point where I've now got to a level it's kind of stagnated, and I need food and a surplus to kind of keep moving past that, but that'll come. I've just started changing my food as of today, so that will come. But we do 3 sets here, and we kind of like do a top set, a back off, and then another back off, working in kind of like a 6 to 9 rep range for the first one. So that's why I've got a lot of plates on, and I dropped into 3 plates per side here, and then I kind of aim for more like a 8 to 10 repper, sometimes even a little bit more. And then in the last set, you'll see I drop the weight even further, and we kind of work more in that range of 12 plus. And basically, if I get anything above 15, I know, okay, I'm just going to increase the load for next time. If I get anything more than 10 on this set here, I know I increase the load. And it's just a feel it out. So sometimes I'll progress the top set and I'll have to hold the second and the third set, or sometimes I'll hold the top set and I'll progress the second and the third. As long as I see progression within one of these sets, of these working sets here, that's all I really care about. And the key thing for me is keeping my sternum up, chest proud and high, and I'm trying to drive my bicep across my chest. Like people think when they do chest work here, they're just going to move that weight from A to B, try and get it away from you, try and just get the rep finished straight out the arm. But I'm trying to get my chest to contract, my chest to work. The job of my chest is to bring my upper arm, or my humerus, if you're going to be smart, across the midline of my body. It comes towards the midline. So if we're thinking, okay, how can I do that if I'm on a machine? I'm on a fixed plane. Well, I can still have the intention and the intent to drive my bicep across my chest, extending at the elbow to squeeze and contract it. That intent alone is a brain sending a signal to the muscle to contract in a certain way, and that demand is going to allow you to contract the muscle tissues and recruit those motor units as much as you possibly can as you struggle and train intently, close to failure, get that chest activated, and think less about moving weight and contracting the muscle to move the weight. That's how I like to do things, especially my chest, which is a weak point for me. And then after that, we move on to, like you say, the upper back, the back movements now. So that's the chest portion, finish of the session of the upper. Now we're going to basically a single arm lat pull down. This is the GOAT. You'll see everybody in the world basically talk about this movement, and they'll tell you how to set it up and how to do whatever. Look, at the end of the day, you're just trying to basically allow your arm or your lat to fully extend as far as it can, and then contract. Now, the key thing is people say, oh, think about your elbows, don't think about your hands. All you need to think about is getting that arm to move as far away as you can without letting your body or upper body rotate around, and that's why my left hand is pushing against the bench, so I can push into the bench as I'm extending away to stop me rotating. So it's a counter anti-rotation portion. But then when I pull down, I drive my left hand into that bench to create counter force, which will increase the level of stability, which will help me generate a little bit more force when I pull. More stability equals more force output capabilities. Think of the saying, I love to say this one, it's my favorite of all time: you can't fire a cannon from a canoe, but you can fire a cannon from a fortress. Think about it. So left arm driving into that bench, and now I just drive that right arm straight down. So I just think armpit into my back pocket. I think elbow behind my basically right arse cheek. That's the kind of intent I have with this movement when I'm trying to drive it. And I like to go really slow with the eccentric, more from me in a control sense. I don't like to get things too loose with this movement. It's as much as I'm about moving load, and mechanical tension is a huge driver for hypertrophy and muscle growth. I'm also a huge component when it comes to lat stuff. Is very individual, and it's very much a case of feeling it out. The key thing here, and which I don't like about my own form, is sometimes I start to look down when I pull, and it drops. And when I look down, that's going to bring my chest down and collapse. I need to keep my chest up. You need to keep your chest up. You need to keep your chest proud. You need to keep your sternum up, your pump handle up. Don't look down like what I'm doing there. That's poor. So I learned from this video, and I'll do better next time. That's why I film my sets. But you need to keep that sternum up. Your lat is going to wrap around your rib cage. We need to keep the sternum up so we can create expansion there. If I look down like that, I then lose that kind of lengthening in the lat, which goes against the point. So things for me to even learn from as I do this voiceover. But yeah, training to failure, is here. But now you get a closer view of where this elbow and arm is going to go. So from here, extend, okay? And I'm going to drive my armpit down and my elbow into my back pocket. Armpit slides down my body. You can see almost like everything's going down. Everything's down and back. That's the key here. And you'll see also my hand position is a neutral, maybe even more to a supinated position. And reason being is because the lat is a massive internal rotator, okay? The lat is a large internal rotator alongside the chest. So if I have my upper arm or my humerus with the lat attached onto into a slightly external / neutral position, we're then able to kind of get the lat to work in its active range while still getting its full length. I could let my arm completely go, let my shoulder blade completely go, which I do. I do reach as far as I can, but I reach as far as I can while still maintaining a level of external rotation / neutral position. I don't allow my arm to kind of internally rotate and completely go. Now you could say why not get more bang for your buck, get a lot more muscles involved. But for me to control this form and keep it very much more standardized, it allows me to get much more lat contraction, lat control, and just say back to the point of almost back to that bodybuilding or mind muscle connection. I like the feel of it as well. Now we're going to the next portion of the movements, okay, which is shoulder press. So usually the pull down would actually be after this one, but because of the way the session went, it didn't go perfect. So I'm actually going to not be lie to you and edit this and make it look how it perfectly went. This is how it went. Somebody was on the machines I was wanting to use, this one here particularly, couldn't use it. So I went to the next exercise. The reality of training in a gym, folks, if the gym's not closed, you have access to all the kit on your own. Sadly, you have to do this sort of shit. So this is me getting the shoulder press now, which is not exactly in the right sequence, but it is what it is. And I just do, once again, I do 3 sets here, which has actually changed more recently now, but you'll see that as I film more exercises for you. But this is a shoulder press again, shoulder press machine. I love this Life Fitness shoulder press machine. It feels so good on my delts, even though I have a dodgy right shoulder. It feels really good in the press. And I kind of slide my butt slightly forward and lean back into it, so it's not completely vertical. And I kind of move a lot much more, because you can see the axis of those machines, let's say, behind me. So those handles move up and back. So if I get too upright in that seat position, my arms want to go up and then they go behind my head. Whereas I slide myself forward, I can lean back, I can kind of get much more in plane with right over the top. So it just feels once again nicer for me. So understand, people, there's some machines out there, but guess what? Not everything's made for you. Sometimes you have to just make yourself and make the machine fit you and not the other way around, okay? So 3 sets, I do the same thing. Top set, back off, back off. I like to, when I'm fully energized and feel the freshest, is lift the most weight with the most control, obviously with good form, as best form as I can anyway. And then from there, I obviously want, like, I do what I always do, and that is a case of driving more repetitions, more metabolic stress, and I like that third set to always be a high rep set. I always aim for that kind of 15 rep number. I don't know what it is particularly about that 15 rep number, but I just really, really enjoy that number of reps come the very last set of an exercise. It's just something I've always done, that with compounds, that with this isolation. It's just something about that connection, that feel, that pump. It just does really good things for me, and I just enjoy it. And got to remember, folks, training, you have to enjoy training. If you don't enjoy training, god damn, you're going to struggle to keep up with this stuff, I tell you. But anyway, so I've also been dealing with a very dodgy back. So actually, funnily enough, my back was on the mend, hence why I was able to do some of these rows. Like, it's just 35 kg. I can usually do 47.5s. I was doing 35s when my back was getting the position. So you can see the good control, the protraction and the retraction. My back really controlled. Great form. I'm really pleased with this one. You'll see what happens at the end of the set. But I actually, the day after, have legs, and then I did Smith squats, and I absolutely fucked my back again. So John McLeod, you twat, did that. Wait, here we go. I think it's this one. I think it's this one. Is it this one? No. Is it this one? There's a rep coming up. Yeah, there we go. Boom. There you go. Well done, Johnny. Well done. And your spine goes pop. And I was pissed off, yes. I was so annoyed because I thought my back was back to when it was. But guess what? He went for the back off sets. I just lowered the weight down and got more control. All it was a little bit lack of bracing. But yeah, like I said, the Smith squats the day after. I don't know why. It was just such an egotistical thing. I go in the gym, things feel good. I know in my head, Johnny, lift the foot another day. Give it another week. No. This clever clogs loads up the weight again to what I did on my max 2 weeks beforehand. And then guess what? 7th rep, come back up, boom, left SI joint just was like, not today, motherfucker. So, my own fault, what can I say? Yeah, grim. But, anyway, so, carrying on with where we are just now. My back is currently mending, we're getting there, so, it is what it is. But, we moved on from that, so 3 sets, I only did 2 sets there because my back was just ruined, and my lower back was buggered. So then we move into some arm stuff. Now, this is, personally, for me, single arm preacher curl with dumbbell is just, it's just awesome. Because, well, you'll see here, I have a very good controlled eccentric, very good controlled slight pause as I change direction, and then slight pause at the top before I lower myself down. It's just all about the control, and the reason why you love single arm is one, same thing. Left arm here, I'm actually pushing into that pad. Here we go. So you see how I change my hand position? I push into that pad as I'm driving up. Counter force, people. Counter force. So you can see the pressure. You can see the actual pad crumpling a little bit under my left hand as I push through that bench. And then also, as I'm contracting, I'm trying to get my bicep to work. Well, guess what? Muscles have what you call antagonistic pairs. Basically, for one to move, the other has to do something as well. So in this case, for my bicep to squeeze and shorten and contract, my tricep on the other side has to lengthen. So how about, hey, I don't know, we try and think about using the tricep, and in this case, I want to drive my tricep into the pad. So my full upper arm is on that pad. I've got my right hand pushing down as I contract up, and then what I do is I actually pull my tricep into the pad to create even more stability, more length in the tricep to squeeze my bicep and contract it up. That's what I do. That's what we work for. That's what we're trying to get out of this movement. Trying to get as much bicep isolation as possible. Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be times where you get your upper body slightly involved to some extent. You try to keep it out as best you can. It's tough. It's what happens, but you try your best. But for me, you want your biceps to activate, single arm, feel the muscle out. It's the way to go. I usually do 2 sets. I only filmed one, but I do 2 sets. And then we come over to do triceps. Now, my right shoulder, I have a bit of grief when it comes to tricep training. I really struggle, and I should have done single arm or something, because dual arm with me, it just doesn't work. I get internally rotated my shoulders. It's just uncomfortable. I can't get my tricep to fully extend in my right arm compared to my left arm. My right arm's a lot weaker than my left arm, which doesn't make sense because my right arm is usually the stronger side. It's a bit of a bugger, but anyway. So here we did rope extensions, trying to keep it controlled, trying to squeeze it, trying to keep it in the pause, all that good stuff. But same thing, it's just always difficult to keep my position. I have to almost alter or stop to reposition my shoulders, try and keep it going again. It's just one of those nasty things I really struggle with. Excuse me. So we did 2 sets there again. Here we go, it's the second set. So tricep extensions again, and like I say, really lowered the weight and just went for contraction, squeeze. And ideally, same thing with the cable. That cable, when my arm is, extended, should be getting close to my body. Somewhat it kind of is. And then my arms, when it's kind of like at the top, it's kind of the cable's furthest away. So when it's a lengthened position, it's kind of, not as much, but it is sort of like that a little bit for the resistance profile. So quite similar to how I talked about it at the very beginning with my lateral raises. Sort of the same with my triceps here, but not quite achieved well, just my body position is a little bit too bent over. But it is what it is. So no, overall, it was a great session. Overall, it was a great pump. Overall, like I say, the food is on the rise. We're now going into a gaining phase. So I've just made a big calorie adjustment this week, as of today, going into next week, and we have gotten much more calories going in. We are going to be definitely at maintenance calories, if not in a slight surplus, and it's now big time to grow season. We're going to see some big changes now when it comes to training, some good PRs, which I'm looking forward to. I've made some training changes also as well with that, so I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward for you all to see that, because I'm going to film a lot more training and get a lot more and that kind of stuff done. I think it's very important. But what I've wanted to finish off with here is just showing you a little bit of my posing, a little bit of my physique update, how we're looking. That little lump on my belly, by the way, right next to my belly button, that's a lipoma, that's a fatty lump. I was going to get it taken off by a plastic surgeon, but my insurance would not cover it. So I thought, do you know what? It's not worth it. I shall keep it on me for the foreseeable yet, and then when time comes and I can be bothered to pay for it, I will take it off. But anyway, this is kind of how the physique's looking. Not so fat, keeping things kind of in check, intact. Still somewhat lean, which is nice to see. Lighting is definitely helpful here, I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, we're in a good position. So like I say, as of today, I'm actually lighter now than I am there. I'm 99.1 kg. I was about 99.6 there maybe. So I'm in a good position. I'm in a position to grow. Like, I'm lean. I'm too lean. I need to be growing. So what you're going to see from me, guys, is a good off season, and that's why I want you to follow along with that. And I'm going to get much more sessions. I'm going to do some mic'd up sessions as I train, and I'll talk through it as we go along, keep you on the loop. But yeah, guys, so that is the session. That is my upper body voiceover. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like my insight to some of these exercises. I've got a lot more insight to come with a lot more things and more topics to discuss. But for now, we're going to sign off there, and I hope you enjoyed, and we will catch you all in the next video, and hopefully that will be something more entertaining. But like I say, big things coming for JMF. Don't forget to like, subscribe, guys. Catch you all later soon. Bye.